in the house. I like to have a discussion, and plus I got to put it out on multiple platforms. That takes me a minute, man. I got to push all these buttons. It's kind of crazy, but technology is amazing, and I even got a extra little screen here, which I think might help me. And I might be able to see comments that I miss because they play with the comment. Well, all right. Be fair and say I don't know if they play with the comments. It might be a software challenge where I don't always see everybody's comments and I can't see everybody's in the room. And every time I watch one of my favorite live streamers, it's obvious to me that they're either challenges with the software or they're intentionally preventing some sort of discussions from happening. Because I'll join a live stream and I can see other people in the room. I was watching Ty's live stream yesterday. I could see other people in the room talking to each other. And it's the craziest thing. I'm like, okay, I can see them talking to each other, but I don't see who they're talking to. I see John they keep responding to John, and everyone's talking back to John. John, you crazy. John, you're a troll. Your mama John, all kind of things. Johnny Five. Y'all remember Johnny Five? Anyway, but I actually can't see him, and so I know that there's either software challenges, but sometimes I'll refresh. I'll go out of the app and I'll go back in it, or I'll refresh the web page, and then I can see. So I don't know if Facebook's kind of having software challenges or the deep state. Deep state always coming for us. They're trying to get us, y'all. They're trying to get us. All right. I think we're everywhere. I think we're ready to rolling. No, I'm not gonna sing this morning. Not gonna do that. Hopefully everybody's doing good this morning. Let me pull up my comment section here. Sometimes I'll talk. Oh, we got some news today, y'all. We got some news. We always got some news. Always something going on. But I want to. In fact, well, before I jump directly into the news, I'd have to say, sad tidings this morning, people. We lost Stephen Hawking yesterday. Stephen Hawking, the theoretical physicist, phenomenal brother that took us forward, expanded our minds. He was one of the brothers that reminded us that we always have to think about the future. Evolution stopped when we invented money and currency and these debt-based solutions. Evolution stopped when colonization became the default instead of working together. And Stephen Hawking was one of those brothers that kind of took us into space and gave us that understanding that there's so much more out there than what we understand. And he was always even keel, because something would happen and you have the people who jump on the side, ain't no aliens. Stephen Hawking, we don't know if it's aliens, the other people, it's definitely aliens everywhere, but he was always, middle tier. Conspiracies are already jumping up as to what happened to him. The most recent thing he was working on the asteroid. Y'all know well, so the conspiracy is already going, and I'm fine with conspiracy and conspire, right? In a time where your government lies about everything all the time, all over the planet, everywhere, you don't really know anything. I'm not saying I don't believe it's 7 billion people on Earth. I'm just saying what Harsh Mag kind of says. Prove it. Prove there ain't 7 billion people on Earth. You can't prove it because we don't have access to that information. We have no idea what goes on down the street, let alone in the next country over at 8,000 miles away. So, but what I appreciate about Stephen, he always had that common sense answer. You got SETI that's out there looking for extraterrestrial life, and you got NASA launching probes saying, this is the humans, this is what you look like. They put up the CD with the things on it. This is how you kill them. If you stab them here, you kill them. If you spray dust and put GMOs in the food, you kill them. And he gave all the aliens that information. NASA didn't do that. But NASA, they did. They sent that was the Voyager probe to tell aliens that were here. And Stephen Hawking was that real common sense. He said, hey, hang on, NASA. Hang on now. We don't know if they're there or they're not. It's a whole lot of damn planets up there. How about we just not broadcast that we're here for now? Now, this is one of the greatest things he said. How about we just step back and just chill in our space, develop our technology, stop killing each other in case the aliens actually do show up? because when the aliens show up, it never goes well for the people who live there. When the colonizers show up, the indigenous never fare well, because usually the colonizers, they're the ones who get there. They have higher technology. And that was one of his points. If aliens can cross the galaxy, make stargates, do whatever, and just appear and pop up, these are not people you want to really meet yet. You want to have a death ray, a laser, I don't know, Luke Skywalker, something. You want to have some of that stuff before the aliens get here. So I appreciate Stephen Hawking for his real common sense. Just let's stay back and take an approach. The last one was the asteroid, which was headed this way, which was what, about a month ago? The cigar-shaped asteroid that they said, you know what, this kind of looks like a cruise missile. You know, looks like, you know, if we send a probe, and the probes we do send in space, they're elongated, they're cylindrical, so that there's less friction and there's less damage from asteroid dust and things as they fly through the galaxy. And his point was, you know, of course, NASA and the mainstream, it's an asteroid, it's a rock, it's pencil-shaped rocks out there, we seen them, you know, and you know, the alien guy, it's the aliens coming to get us. Y'all remember the Heaven's Gate people? The last time the asteroid was coming, they all killed themselves with Nike tennis shoes. I don't know the link between Nike and asteroids and death, but I bet you something there. I bet you it's a conspiracy, a cult or something. But anyway, and so it was headed this way. And his point was that, you know, well, sir, first of all, the reason we noticed the asteroid is because it was coming in an orbit to do a slingshot maneuver around the sun. Asteroids don't do that. You know, this was a very specific, slow moving thing, which appeared to be an old broken down alien ship. So of course, Stephen Hawking did his thing. Hey, listen, y'all jumping to conclusions. Not a rock. It's got metals on it. We can see that it's not just a rock. Something special about it. We don't know it's an old alien ship either. And his point was, how about we study it? How about we listen to it? How about we send up a probe? And of course, you know, that probe went up there. We didn't know nothing about it. But you know, the probe went up. And so Stephen Hawking was studying it. He was trying to see if they can get, his team was trying to see if they can get radio signals from it. And then, of course, a month after he did that, 2 months after he did that, Stephen Hawking is now dead at the age of 78. So conspiracies running, you know, who knows what it means. I just appreciate the fact the brother was alive. He actually helped me to open my mind, right? He was one of the few who just really was a professional about it. He was scientific about it. He was a skeptic, but his mind was open enough to understand that we can't live in our little closed-minded heads. So Stephen Hawking is dead at 78, missed the brother, but I appreciate his service, which leads me into what I want to talk about. He left that asteroid dust for all, right? He took his ability and he actually made sure the next generation was an upgrade of his generation. This is something we don't do. Which is why I want to talk about Brother Otzi, but let me see who's up in the house this morning. Talk about Brother Otzi. This is Brother Otzi's asteroid dust behind. Y'all know who Otzi is. I'm going to tell you who Otzi is, because that's what I do. I tell things that other smart people say, because I'm a parakeet. That's all I do. But we got Tio up in the house this morning and Amia. Oh, Claudia's live streaming. Oh, man. Well, no, Tio, we're not there's no competition. There's people can, you know, watch one, watch the other. You know, that's my sister. I love her to death. I didn't know she was streaming, but I don't get notifications when my friends stream anymore because they don't want me to know what they know. It's just how it works. But you can do whatever you like. Go watch Claudia, watch me, or do what I do. When Claudia, Debbie, Harsh, Brother Chris, anyway, they all go live. I got two eyes. Damn it, I got two eyes. I got two ears. I have like Ty over here, and I have Harsh over here, and Chris over there, and Claudia over there. And I get this confused and discombobulated and crazy stuff like that. But I watch my people. That's what I do. But anyway, that's me. Let me see. We got Brother Nathaniel in the house. Good morning, Elaine. Buddha on time. She the mama in the house. She the mama, keep everybody together, make sure everybody where they supposed to be. But she's not old enough to be a mama. Yeah, but we're not gonna go there. Let's keep everybody in line. Great. We got Crystal and Susan. All right, Diane, and we got Deborah and Mary. We got all the usual suspects and Brother Chris. And let me see who we got. Brothers Sally, if that's your name, pronounce it right. I apologize. And Jasmine and Glenn in the house as usual. All right. So I want to talk about Brother Otzi this morning. I want to talk about leave it. Be an upgrade. In fact, it's funny. that was one of the initial talks I did in starting all this little silliness that I don't know what I'm doing, but just talking. Um, we got to be an upgrade for the next generation. Let me show you Brother Otzi. Always think about being an upgrade. Brother Otzi was an Iceman. He was an Iceman, and this is some of his materials behind me. They studied Brother Otzi, and they found. Let me show you a picture of him. Brother kind of fine too. Look, he got a six pack. Hold on, let me see. Let me get a picture of this brother right here. This Brother Otzi right here. They didn't found him in the Italian mountains, Italian Alps, and the significant things about Otzi is, let me get up my notes because I'm gonna say it wrong. But if I say it wrong, this is a great thing you always post in the comments. We can clarify. But they found him with multiple types of blood, right? So they found him. He had two types of blood on a spear, not a spear, the arrow, the tip of the arrow. He had two types of blood there. He had a different type of blood that was on his knife, and he had a different set of blood that was on his shirt. And the interesting thing about that is they kind of put together the mystery of what happened to Brother Otzi. And he also had this neatly gathered pile of things behind me that he put into a nice little pile. So what they were able to figure out about this brother is that he was a hunter and he was with a hunting group, and they ran into another group of human beings. And you know how we look back at history and we know that human beings always work together. They helped each other out. And the majority of the time that was the case. They told him where the wolves were, where the bears were, where you should and shouldn't walk. But then every now and then, scarcity doing what scarcity always does, Brother Otzi ran into another tribe of humans, and they wanted food too. Uh-oh, hold on. I got my phone ringing. And they wanted food too. And so what had happened was Brother Otzi and his group got into it with the other humans who wanted some food. And they don't know who won the battle, but they know Otzi got two of them, the two different types of blood on the spear, got his spear back. He took his knife and got somebody else. And then suspecting whether or not he was injured enough to walk and carry somebody else where the blood from somebody else got on shirt, a tribe member, or if he actually was too injured because he was shot by an arrow in his shoulder that they took out, and that his other brother from his tribe carried him out. But it was a battle. But the interesting thing is that Otzi was a survivor. He was a man. He was strong. He was an adult. Now I would say man, I'll say adult, because it didn't matter if you were a man or woman. Every woman that came from Otzi's time 4,500 years ago, they were all stronger than us. You can take a 7-year-old girl from back then, and she had more mental fortitude and survival ability than every man on this planet today. So let's not go there. So the interesting thing is Otzi didn't make it, as you may know, because they found him frozen in the mountains. But they also found that he took all of his materials and put them in a nice, neat pile before he died, the materials behind me, and he put them by a rock. And then the brother died. Leave your asteroid dust for all. Otzi would have no idea if his kids would actually find his asteroid dust. Why do I call it asteroid dust? Because everything on this planet comes from asteroid dust. Everything on this planet, every car, cell phone, your clothes, your shoes, your Gucci Amarada. Is it the Gucci Amarada shirt? Is that the one that Theo made? The sister, Lisa Bonet, what's his name? Made for him, Gucci Amarada shirt. Anyway, all of that stuff, all of this junk that we collect, it's all asteroid dust. It's all just minerals that came here from asteroids. But leave your asteroid dust for the next people. So what Otzi understood is he had to be the upgrade. Not only did he fight hard, not only was he a warrior, they also know he was a farmer by his clothes and the things they found on him. So he was a farmer and hunter, and then smart enough as an adult to leave what he had behind so that he upgraded his society to be better off. Instead of taking his stuff and just sticking in his pockets, dying, taking and burying it under something, and, oh, you know, I'm gonna save it. He didn't put it in a bank. He didn't do anything like that. He took all of his stuff and he piled it up in a neat pile. Even if the enemies came by, he made sure it was by a rock so it stood out so people could see. Here's some asteroid dust for human beings to survive. How do I see that? I see that as, and we don't know if the story was exactly true. You know, this is this is forensics, right? It's going back. It's being Dexter, you know, blood spatter specialist. But it's interesting because even in warring with another tribe, you know, he didn't put it under his body where he knew his family or kids would get him and get what's from underneath him. He just put it out on a rock so the next human being that came by could utilize these tools. That's who we have to be. That's who we have to go back to being. We have to go back to being a wiser civilization and a wiser generation that knows that we are part of the human race. You know, his day was an immense scarcity day. So everyone was broken up into these little tribes, right? Our day is not an immense scarcity day. Our planet is not overpopulated, and it's nowhere close. Our planet is living in a time of artificial scarcity. People are tribalized and broke up into these little silly groups because we don't produce enough, because it makes no sense to greed and profitability to produce enough so everybody can have a house, everybody can have a car, everybody can have water. Everyone can have that any day that we choose because we have the automation to do that. We don't have to live hard and rough like Brother Otzi. We don't have to live tribal like him. We can be an upgrade from his time, but it's a choice, right? It's a choice. We decide whether or not we want to continue to live tribal and murder other human beings for their asteroid dust, or if we want to use automation to go ahead and get past the time. And if you think that I'm kind of saying that we're living like cavemen, we are. We are living like cavemen. We do not have brains that are as developed as the Neanderthal. Yes, they were probably smarter than all of us. Their brain cavities were significantly larger than ours. Size does matter. Unfortunately, we may have just been the hominid that was the most ignorant that just happened to have the sharpest tools, and we beat out the Neanderthals. But be the upgrade, you know, and I'm not saying don't leave anything for your kids, right? But I'm saying that we need to think like he did. We need to be as smart as this caveman. We need to be as smart to leave for all tribes. We need to be as smart to maybe consider there only is ever one tribe. That's what I'm talking about. But there's somebody else. Another little history thing. We'll get into the news. Oh, wow. Something else happening. Something else happening too. I'm going to tell you about the Ice Princess. Then we're going So the Ice Princess, what is her name? I have to post a link. You can find. But that's Brother Otzi, O-Z-T-I, if y'all like to look back at history. We got to look at the past, because when we look at the past, we can determine where we need to go in the future. And the other one I found interesting was the Siberian Ice Maiden. If you heard of her, let me show you. Oh, this woman was fine. Oh, she was a fine one. Then, all right, here's her tomb. This is where they found her. This was her tomb. And they found her, I want to say it was Siberia also. I have to go back. Where did they find her? She was a Russian. She was a Russian, so Russia did it, right? They found her in the permafrost up there. Where? Okay, in Siberia. In Siberia. I don't have all the information from me, but she was from the 5th century. Interesting about this sister. Let me show you. She had tattoos. Oh, this was weird. Look at the tattoos, y'all. Look at the tattoos. Check it. I can't show you the mummy. I won't show you the mummy because then they'll say I'm explicit, which is real silly to me. So they found tattoos on her body. They know what tribe she was a part of, blah, 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 blah. Couple things interesting about the sister is that, let me show you this one. She's fine. Fine as all get out. So they just did studies on her, and they did the same reverse little forensics things. She had breast cancer. So she had breast cancer, and they knew it was approaching, you know, it was large enough that it was becoming a problem. She also had injuries, that she had fallen off of a horse. And what they suspected, she was traveling with her tribe, her group, fell off her horse, and that created immense amounts of pain. That didn't kill her because her wounds were beginning to heal, but they knew she was in a lot of pain from the breast cancer. Guess what else they found on her? They found cannabis on the system. They found cannabis. And this is why I think this is interesting. Why we always got to look back, right? Cannabis is utilized for treating pain and always has been. It has been one of the healing tools of the day. And so I find it highly interesting that our ancestors all utilized natural medicines to heal their bodies. And we're finding, they found cocaine, coca, with the Egyptians. You know, we know that people live in immense pains. And back then they lived in time of even worse pain, but they were a stronger people than what we are today. But it's a message to me. It's a mess. These are messages that the ancients who came before us, our elders, that they left for us. Things that we need to be looking into to make sure that we are upgrading. We're evolving. We're not de-evolving and going backwards. We're learning from the lessons they taught. We're learning from the medicines they used. We're learning from the lives they led. Another interesting thing about Brother Otzi was that they realized that he was going to develop cardiovascular disease. Now, don't ask me how I know that. All of this a complete lie, because the 1% always lies to us. But it all sounds about right. But that he was going to develop cardiovascular disease later in life. And I think he died, he was like 47, they're saying, when he died. I find it interesting that he didn't already have cardiovascular disease at 47. He probably had a healthy diet. Sounds like he was a farmer and a hunter. He was eating natural things. He didn't have pesticides and GMOs and all this crap in his environment. Extremely strong at that age, enough to fight off attackers and possibly win the fight. They said there was a lot of blood on his things, and it looks like he really got him. It wasn't like a little slash. He got up in them, you know. And so, but they were healthy and they were strong. Our hunter-gatherers from the past. Now, be the upgrade, right? Think to yourself, what can you do to make sure that you leave this planet a better place than you found it? You know, not even just from a financial, I'm not saying that, and all the junk that people like to buy. I'm just saying, what are you doing while you're here? Who are you helping while you're here? Are you processing that we actually are asteroid dust too? We're only here for a moment, and we can leave things for the next generation, or we can just collect those things and just have our little, you know, self-glorified lives, as opposed to making our role in evolution. Now, the interesting about Brother Otzi, the last thing I'm gonna say about it, I'm done. They actually found his axe. The axe he had on him, he had a bunch of stuff, but the axe was made of copper. And so he was at a day, and this is back during the Egyptians. And so in medieval times, they barely even started working with copper. He already had copper, but he was a separated tribe, you know, further away. And so he was pretty evolved for the day based on our understandings. All right, so the other thing, assuming this broadcast comes to an end, I want to let you know what's going on. This might be the end, y'all. This might be all that, this might be everything. So we are now entering into, we got our solar flare warning. This is where I keep my eye on the doomsday side. I got my doomsday friends, and I always got my eye, because you want to know what them brothers are talking about. Them brothers and sisters, they got the bunker keys, they're ready to go. So there was a solar flare. I guess it happened, I guess was it last week? But it has finally, time has expired, and that plasma and magnetism storm is ready to hit Earth. And so what am I talking about? I'm talking about when the sun goes through its little hiccups. Plasma shoots out. Not like the plasma that UFO got in that video. If y'all saw the UFO sun video where the orb flew up to the sun and sucked out some plasma and flew away. It was a NASA video, but I'm not talking about that right now. But when the sun goes through its little convulsions and it burps up some plasma, it flies towards Earth. Last time this happened, and it was like a significant event, was, when was that? 1890 something? 1890 something, where we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have a society based on electronics. It caused problems then, but it wouldn't cause the problems now. It was called the Carrington event. It was a solar storm. In fact, there were 2 CMEs in that one. That's where the plasma that comes in actually hits the Earth. Problem is for us is daytime. So if you're on this side of the Earth, right, we're gonna be okay in about 14 hours, because then the Earth does what it does, and it'll hit the UK and China and all our friends over there. But right now it's coming for us. So if this broadcast goes off and the power goes out, it's gonna be a bad time. So these are the solar flares that come, and this is actually what makes the northern lights, right? This is what actually makes the pretty northern lights everybody takes a picture of. But we're under warning for the next, I think, today and tomorrow for this solar flare. So just be cognizant of that. 1859, it hit power went out, started fires, electronics caught on fire. And this is back in the teletype days, right? They didn't have a society that needed electricity before it collapses. The biggest problem we have is that because we don't own our government, we don't own our world, we don't tell them what to do, they're spending all the resources off robbing and destroying and colonizing to make our lives more comfy, cozy, and our lattes $4, when maybe they need to be restoring the power grid. Yes, thank you, Sister Diane. Coronal mass ejection. And so, because they're not spending the money to make sure that America has a power grid that's not going to fall apart, hold on, let me see if I got a picture. We're still under risk for this happening. Our biggest issues is that at last count, I think we have, see, the thing is, Sun knows what Russia knows. And at last count we have is something like, was it like 10 or 15? What the thought was, if we lost 10 to 15 substations, transformers, that it would take over a decade to replace all of them. That means that if today is the day and the solar mass ejection hits us, the power is going to go off in the United States, and it's not going to come back on for at least a decade. There'll be roaming blackouts. But this is what Russia knows, and this is what the sun knows. We are a highly dependent group of people. We're highly ignorant too, and we're highly silly, because we cheer the wars, and we cheer, we need some health care, and we got to keep our guns, and we cheer and we fight about all the silly stuff. But because we're dependent on our government for electricity, our power grid is just completely outdated. We are highly dependent on that infrastructure. It is not, so if you are an overpopulation person and you think that they're always trying to depopulate us, they're poisoning us, they're trying to kill us, they really don't have to. All they have to do is not upgrade the power grid, because in the United States, this is how it goes, right? For the rest of the world, if it just hits the United States, the power goes out, stays out for 10 years, but don't worry. I mean, you don't say, oh, I just have to make it for 10 years. No, you're going to die. Because within the first year, 90% of Americans will all be dead, right? They're all going to kill each other. They're going to fight over water, food, zombies running through the street, eating, killing, just all babies crying. It's not going to be fun at all. And there might be 10% left, and that 10% mostly going to be the people in the underground, in the bunkers, the people that y'all like to talk about, the ones with the guns, the crazy survivalists. They're going to survive. You're going to die, and it's not going to be fun when you die. It's not going to be easy, because when people come to your house for food and you got food. So this is the risk that we live in, right? We're not spending money taking care of each other. We're spending money robbing each other. This is the biggest spit I have with the Democrats, the Republicans, and this is why I don't think any of the things that we talk about are politics. None of it is. It's all human rights and common damn sense. Make sure that you are sustainable in your world. Be as smart as Brother Otzi. Make sure that you are not only taking care of the people today, but you're making sure that people tomorrow have more, not they have less, because you want to have more today and you're okay with colonization and invading the world and the dumb stuff that we're doing. So I think we got 2 days before our risk pass, but we got about 14 hours and we'll swing around in the UK and the West and Russia. Then it's y'all a chance to have your lights shut out. But if the lights get shut out in the United States, I'm going to tell you, the rest of the world be like, oh, that'll be a good thing. The United States gets shut off, the bastards invading everybody. And I partially agree with you. We are some bastards, and our government's constantly invading and killing, robbing, murdering people. However, if the lights go out in the United States, what do you think Russia's going to do? What do you think China's going to do? What do you think North Korea? What do you think Canada's going to do? Our best friend. What do you think Mexico's going to do? They're coming over the border. They're coming to get the crap that's here, all the weapons and the guns and the nuclear technology and everything. They're coming here, which is going to bring about just a massive power vacuum, world destabilization, nuclear weapons everywhere, not to mention all the nuclear power plants we have in the United States. You're not going to want to be alive after that. The whole world's going to be irradiated, and it's going to come to an end. So instead of like focusing on the end of the world, which is what all other cultures kind of did, and I think they all tried to warn us about it too, we're focusing on robbing each other. And we got to level up. We got to get past that. Sister Kathy said, I'm going to invest in emergency lighting. Yeah, Kathy, emergency lighting is good. Now's the time. If I got a lot, like I said, I got my survival friends. Now's the time to break out your Faraday cage. This is when you take your solar panels and you put them in the Faraday cage. I won't tell you if I have one. That's not your business. But this is now a time to kind of consider and think. And it's actually, you know what? And I don't think anything's going to happen personally, because it hasn't happened in a while, since 1859. But these little drills are important. I think it's important to have these little scares. I think it's important for people to talk about these things, because if we don't prepare for the bad times, because the bad times always come, but if we don't prepare for the bad times, we get lulled into a false sense of security. And then our kids get lulled into a false sense of security. And then we end up as becoming an ignorant generation, which is what we are today, where we're propped up on the government. We're propped up on their infrastructure. We just say, oh, bad times, they're not going to happen no more. We are finally at utopia. The lights won't go out. The water's going to keep flowing. They're not going to poison it. And we're good to go. And our kids are even, and then you know all the complaints you guys have about the millennials, right? Every generation that gets better and better and better and more dependent on the kings and lords, more. And then bad times come. Society collapses. The human, that 7 billion that y'all say we have, collapses to what was underneath 10,000, 13 times in history, whatever they say. It collapses because we never get smart enough. Our brains never evolve far enough to think more about the future than about our past. All right, that's it on that. So a lot of things in the news. Jump over. That was a little piece of news. Let's go on over here. I want a pretty picture. I don't want to look at death and destruction. Let's see if we can go over here. I saw one of these on a friend of mine's page. Go over here to the Avatar Mountains in China. Ain't that pretty? I love pretty pictures, man. Pretty pictures make you feel happy. I feel happy. So, all right, not really on happy stuff. But apparently, I'm sorry, I just had a thought. I thought about my past. Let me show you something. You ever date somebody and they break? Well, for me, it wasn't text message. It was the beeper breakup. They have like a beeper breakup. Y'all see this? You ever date somebody and they break up with you over text? Oh my Lord, this is where we are, people. Apparently, Tillerson is out the house. So we no longer have a Secretary of State because the president decided to break up with her, I say her, break up with Tillerson over text messaging. So he texted that he was out of it. No, it wasn't text. No, it was a tweet. It was a tweet. He sent the tweet out, so the whole damn world who had Twitter knew that he was fired. Unfortunately, he does not have a Twitter account. So, sorry, you can't make this silliness up. You cannot make this up. So Tillerson didn't know the whole world with Twitter, everybody knew, the millennials, everybody knew he was fired 3 hours before he even knew he was fired, before he got the phone call. So anyway, and I'm not laughing. Why am I laughing? Tillerson got fired. I'm laughing because he didn't do his job. He didn't do his job. Stop. You can't cheer these people. This is what they want, right? Like, this is how this works. They got Trump in there. He's the fired man. You're fired. I never watched the show. Y'all used to watch The Apprentice. I don't watch television, not like that. But he used to fire people, and this is what they want. And so this is why he's doing it. I know my Trump friends gonna say, oh, he's fighting the deep state. He's getting them out. Tillerson sold out. Before that, you didn't say that. Before that, Tillerson's the man. He's a great thing because the Democrats saying he's not. So he's got to be a good guy, and he's going to save us. He's like Jesus Christ with a sword riding on a white horse, you know. And the reality is that's just not the case. The reality is they're all just weak men. All right, they're not as strong as Otzi. They're not going to stand up to any. They're not going to fight off attackers and take your friend, blood just dripping out, got an arrow in your back, thumb on your shoulder, and carry and die and fall over and give everything to the next job. That's not going to happen. That's not what these guys do. That is not the job. The job is to get in place and do what whoever got the most power in that position tells you what to do. So I don't care Tillerson's gone, and I don't think it's a great thing because they're going to put someone else in. I think what was his position on North Korea? I think his position on North Korea is that, he wasn't tough enough on North Korea. So that's why Trump didn't like him. And he was big time on the Russian narrative, right? He was big time. We need to calm down on the Russians. The Russians are just changing our election. That's a bad, and I can't do the interpretations that Brother Harsh does. But let me show you. This was the final last minutes of his speech. So he had an emotional speech, y'all. I'm telling you, he had a little The brother had a tear in his eye. It was a little rough. I don't like to watch nobody cry, man. I don't do that. I'm one of these little emotional dudes, man. When I watch people cry, I get all upset. I don't like to see people cry. Then I think about all the people being murdered around the world, and I'm just like, all right, now I ain't shed no tear with you. So let me show you this. He got a couple things in his farewell speech. It was 8 minutes, but I only got a couple worth of seconds I want to show you. I found a few parts of it quite interesting. Here we go right here.
To my Foreign Service officers and civil service colleagues, we all took the same oath of office.
The oath.
Whether you're a career, employee, or political appointee, we are all bound by that common commitment.
Hang on. He's leaving a message to his colleagues and peers that we all took an oath and we're all bound to that message. See, I think anytime somebody gets shown the door by the deep state or whoever showed them the door, I think they always leave a little nugget. I think they're not strong as Otzi where they're going to leave a whole lot of stuff, but I think they leave like a little nugget. And if you read between the lines, you look between the cracks between the ash, because they don't lotion too well, you actually can see a message of what's wrong with the world, what's wrong with the country from the position and where they were. So he's leaving a message to all the people who work for him, all the security agencies, that we took an oath, and this is what we took this oath to. No, he did not. No, he did. He can't even spell a constitution. He didn't even know what's in it. No one in the federal government does, because that's not what's going on. We can see that they're being run like a corporation. There's all the legal footwork and audit trail, which shows that the United States actually is a corporation. It's not a republic anymore, that we actually had a soft coup. Was it 1933 or whenever they say it was? So first of all, he didn't follow the Constitution, but he's leaving that nugget. He's leaving that nugget, and the rest of the people in the security agencies need to be listening. We are not heading for good times, right? He's being replaced by Comey from the CIA. We going out of the fire into the damn inferno with the building and just lava and just volcanoes shooting everywhere. People running, screaming. The CIA is now good. As if the CIA didn't already run the State Department, right? So now they're going to put Comey in. We are not going into good time. They're putting a big time colonizer in the spot. Something else I wanted to show you from his farewell last statements, oh man, he almost broke down and cried. You might feel sad for him if you watch it. Here's the last portion of the speech.
Honesty and the quiet hard work that you do every day to support this government with your tax dollars.
My tax dollars.
We know want to leave this place as a better place for the next generation.
Point was the same thing Brother Otzi did from the beginning of the video. Brother Otzi took up everything he had in the world that was important that another human needed and left it for them. And this is where he's being honest and he's saying the truth. We want to leave this world a better place. We want to leave our country a better place. That's not happening in this generation. We've actually made things worse. The previous generation might have made them worse too. But seeing how it's our turn, we are the captains of this ship right now. We have to right a few of these things. We got to right a few wrongs. We have to put the ship back down the avenue of being one human race and making sure the next generation has more than what we have. It was a yes. Thank you, Nina. It was an Oath Keeper call. It was an Oath Keeper call because you're not allowed to get on the microphone. Sister Nina said that. You're not allowed to get on the microphone and say the truth because you know what happens when you do that. You get shot. You meet JFK. You meet Martin Luther King. They put you away. Seth Rich. You know, that's what they do when you say the truth. But what you're allowed to say is you're allowed to stick little nuggets in the cracks, right? And they're going to stick little nuggets in the cracks. So we're going into I said Comey. So Comey is the next one, right? He's the one that's being handed over to, which I don't know his position on Russia. I really don't follow too much what he does. I mean, I know that he's coming from the CIA, so it can't be good. That's where I get off. If you come from a murderous band of people and you are at the tops of this organization that is rogue, that is pretty much the cause of well over 10 million deaths in the last 40 or 50 years, including Americans and the war on drugs that they started and set up the supply routes for, what they've done around the world, things we don't even know about. Even with the murdering of the indigenous all throughout Colombia and South America, and not to mention the Middle East and Africa, the things that just are kept in places we won't ever know. They're a rogue organization. They are. The CIA has no oversight. They can do whatever the hell they want, whenever they want. They're not subject to the Constitution. They're a civilian, rogue, private military, and they can't exist. There is no, like Ty said in the video, like, y'all didn't watch Ty's video last night. Y'all should watch it. Oh man, I was dying. I couldn't press the laugh button fast enough. I was rolling because he said, give a justification in the Constitution for the CIA. Give one for the FBI. Give one. No, none of these things should exist. Give one for Homeland Security. You can't, because they're not in the Constitution, because they're all unconstitutional. But the government is not a constitutional republic government. The government actually is a corporation. They're not subject to the Constitution. And that's why every single law they write is unconstitutional. They don't give a damn. It's all about getting money from Wall Street. Right. So that was something that was interesting to me. Did I say Comey? I said Comey. I think it's Comey, right? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I was laughing so hard when I saw it. I was like, I can't believe that he broke up with him on Twitter. I was like, Trump, he's an entertainer, y'all. And this is the whole point. It keeps everybody going. And so he's fired. So the Trump voters are happy. And he got fired. So the Democrats are mad. They want him to write a book and find out, well, tell us on the inside what's going on. Meanwhile, they're all reporting to all the same bosses. A couple other things I found interesting. There was, the whole spy thing, right? So the whole spy, he's still alive, I think. He didn't die yet. The spy and his daughter in the UK. And so now they're going to have the sanctions against Russia. And so now the UK they're trying to put together the list of things that they want to do. They're going to go after Russian billionaires and their holdings. There's like $1 billion in holdings in the UK and different investments, and they're going to go after them. And they're going to attempt some sort of sanctions on Russia. And I listened to the report, and I found it all highly interesting. So what they're saying is that he was poisoned with a Russian poison that was used during the Cold War. And it's a poison that was controlled by Russia. So it was something they developed specifically and they didn't hand out. And so they're saying this is the evidence that Russia did it. However, Russia's complaint is, you need to give us a sample. And the UK said no. Russia said no, because we need to test it. You're saying we did it. It was one of our operatives. We can look into it. We can find out who it is. We handed batches out. We might have gave some to China. We might have gave some to North Korea. Probably gave some to America. They probably began it was manufactured in America. But you need to give us a sample so we can study it and we can tell you, help you with your investigation of, who might have been. UK said no. This is where I stop, and it gets dumb to me, right? If you're saying you want Russia to help with the investigation, you're saying that you actually want to find out if it was Russia, it was state-sponsored, or some rogue ex-KGB guy who this spy helped his friend to get killed, but you're not going to give Russia the evidence to actually look into it, to prove it actually was that, and not the synthetic cannabinoid that they suspected it was originally. To me, that doesn't pass the smell test. That's some BS. It doesn't make any sense. And this is the thing about the truth. If you say the truth, it stands on its own. If you say Russia did it, you'll hand over the sample to the whole world, let everybody test it. You can do it publicly if you like, because it's the truth and you can stand on it. But if Russia says, give us the sample so we can see, and you don't give them the sample, to me, that means that Russia didn't do it. And that's my stance. Russia didn't do it. You're using this because you think Russia involved with Brexit and Russia did something with the U.S. elections, and because the United States and the UK got together, we're going to blame Russia for everything. And so that's what they did. But I think it goes deeper than that, because I think Russia was in those meetings too. I see, okay, so how's this going to work? Let's sit down. Okay, so you're going to blame us for doing this, and you're also going to blame us for this. Okay, and what are we going to do? Oh, you're just going to pretend that you're upset. Oh, okay, so we're going to pretend here in Russia that we're upset that you're blaming us, and it's going to get everybody yelling and screaming between each other, and we're all going to make billions and billions of dollars on all the dummies who are pointing the fingers. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And this is how I think it goes. I think they all work together. I think the billionaires who run all of this, they just hand down the orders to these countries, and they're no longer afraid to tell us who is really running the show now. Yeah, Mary, they're not. They're not. They don't, because what power do we have? We don't have any power. The United States people, the citizens, they don't run their government at all. They don't tell their government tiddlywink. But if you ever turn on the news, every now and then, I'm unfortunate enough, if I turn on the TV and I'm looking for something interesting to watch about some aliens or something, I see the news and clip and people talking. The majority of the people in this country believe they have control. The majority of the people are still lining up politicians and they're cheering. We got to get Booker in place. We got to get this. We're going to change the world. The Democrats are the Republicans, and I'm just sitting here. The vast majority of people still believe the BS. And that's why they don't have to hide anything. They can just let it all come out because we don't have the control, number one, not even from a legislative perspective, but we're so divided that you got the left getting ready to fight the right again and the right getting ready to fight the left again, that we know, one, we have no power, and two, we're still stupid. The vast majority of us are, in a loving way, ignorant, but the vast majority still have no interest in taking back control of their government. Their interest is fighting for the little 0.01%, half a piece of a law that's going to be corrupt to get back at the other side. It's still the NFL for most people. They're cheering for the Eagles or the Redskins like they're watching this in a stadium, and it's not related to the ends of the next generation and whether or not we're setting them up for failure or we're setting them up to be something greater. So that's what was going on. There's some other little interesting bits and pieces. I wanted to finish up on yesterday. So I got a little emotional. I was a little bothered by this police shooting guns off in the school nonsense. But what it comes down to me, I think that police should, right? Because the school, it's a zone, right? It actually is a constitutional free zone. It's a zone where you got all these little creatures that aren't citizens yet. And so the idea that we should have police in schools, policing school, is definitely not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we need police presence, perhaps around schools, to protect the little non-citizens that are in that school. Because, what are they? They're not U.S. citizens yet. They're little diplomats. They're little ambassadors. They're foreign ambassadors from the womb, if you will. They are not from here. They're not really subject to our laws, and they shouldn't be. They're not citizens. And to be honest with you, I don't think they should be till they have a frontal lobe anyway. They may not want to be a part of America. They may not want to be complicit with colonization and murder. Maybe they want to go live in France. But while they're in that school, it's the police's job to protect all these little foreign womb ambassadors from the Americans. That's why police need to be around the school. And you mean to tell me, and what is the contradiction? So if you can have police arresting hundreds, if not thousands of kids every single day under the age of 26 and putting them in prisons for just unconstitutional laws, and they're not even citizens to begin with, you mean to tell me you can't spare one police officer for every school just to make sure that no Americans actually go in that school and cause trouble? Of course you can. But they don't give a damn about kids. They don't give a damn how you die. They don't give a damn how they die. They give a damn about what their job is, which is to take more rights and to roll everything up for Wall Street, which is why, and that's what they're doing. I wanted to shoot over and take a peek at, I like happy things, man. I like happy things, and all this craziness makes me want to look at something happy. What do you mean kids are not citizens? Joyce was asking. So kid, you're not a citizen to your age of 18, right? Was it 17 or 18 where you actually fill out the form and you sign up and you say, I can be drafted and all of that stuff? You're not actually a citizen, right? That's why they're not subject to the laws of this land. But to me, it's a big contradiction. They make them subject to the laws of the land, but they're not even citizens yet. They can't vote yet because they're not citizens. They can't drink alcohol. They can't, I guess you can drive a car at 16, but it's this massive contradiction. They can put you in prison. They can make you subject to the laws of the land, but you're actually an ambassador on this land. you know, but you're an ambassador that we like to pretend that we care about, but they don't. They could care less. And that's why when people want to hit me with gun control and we need to go to the violent people that don't give a damn about children and write some law to give a damn about children. That's why the law that they wrote had nothing to do with children. The law in Florida, well, all that was a civil rights grab. That wasn't even a gun law. It wasn't even a gun ban. It was a civil rights ban. It was a law that says now that they can put mentally ill people in institutions or prisons or take away their rights at a police officer's whim, right? So it's funny. So you thought you were getting gun rights. You think you're gun right. This is what happens when you go to violent people who don't give a damn. All you did was you reverse civil rights. Thank you. Appreciate that. Love you. Stop going to people who you can't trust with important matters to human civilization that we need people to trust. All right. So the other thing, oh boy, I'm gonna get in trouble for this one. All right. You gotta get in trouble. Sometimes you got, but I saw it. It's Hillary. She's over in India. Walking down the steps, flat steps too. Whoa, 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 don't fall now. Hey, watch out. Ferragamo's got some nice footsteps. Oh, there you go again. Up. I'm saying, what? Okay. Why am I laughing? Hillary Clinton slipping down some steps. Well, I don't know. When you murdered, how many people did the whole super predator putting war on drugs, putting all these minorities in prison with a lot of white folk got caught up in there too? How many people are dead because of that? I don't know. You slip down some steps. I think you're supposed to slip and fall all the damn way. I don't think people are supposed to catch you. I think when you are an evil, evil, evil person, you're supposed to slide all the way down. And I love you. I do. But, yeah. But you know what? It could be an indication though, right? People talked about how she was having health problems. They were talking about how her mental stability, things like that. So it is possible that, maybe that was an indicator of that. I don't know. I'm just glad I wasn't there. Because if I was there, oh man, it would not go well. Maybe the elephant, little youth got stuck in the mud, and they were trying to get him out. Go to the end. You've seen these before. They racist, under moronic, something, something, something. I don't go for none of that. I don't believe none of that. Trump is not a racist. That's stupid. Trump is no more racist than Hillary Clinton, right? In fact, if Trump is racist, in which I personally don't know of anything he said that I haven't heard any of my friends say. All right. Like, so if he's racist, the whole country's racist. But to me, it's just, if you focus on the wrong problem, you focus on a side effect, you focus on things that aren't going to solve anything, you're wasting all of our time. You're adding static to the conversation. The issue with the wall is it's based on borders. The issues with the borders are they're 1% handed down narratives, right? These are designations that they gave you. You know, the masters, the railroad tycoons, the colonizers that went and invaded everything. They wanted to figure out a way to take 7 billion different types of people and group them all into nice little packages. And instead of calling them 1, 2, 3, and 4, the most derogatory thing they could say, they came up with this idea of race, right? So they said, you're Mexican, you're black. You know, I mean, so if you was good, it was good if you were like called a country's name. But then some people just got colors. You're white, you know, you're this, you're yellow, you're Chinese. The 1%, 0.01%, or I guess back then it might have been 1%. But anyway, they came up with these designations and they gave them to people. And the thing that I really don't understand is why in the hell would you give honor to the people who raped all of our ancestors? Why would you give honor to the people who enslaved, robbed, oppressed every single ancestor that 99.9% had? Why would you do that? Why would you keep their names alive? Why would you keep their borders alive? Why would you keep their hope and their screw of the 99% alive? It makes no sense to me. So they're down there protesting, which I think is a good thing. I mean, the wall shouldn't go up. It's stupid. It's just the 0.01% narrative to put. So I was kind of go through. I look at. Why is Trump the president? Because the DNC wanted him to be president. That's why. That's what it comes down to. They pumped him up. They ran Hillary. There was no way in hell all right, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to go back to the election. But the wall should not exist. It should not exist because it's just a 0.01% game. And plus, Mexicans got shovels. So I don't even know why we're still on that topic, but people still want to dance, yell, and scream about it. Oh, Apocalypse City's going up. Is something about to happen? You know what? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's always people who always feels the world's coming to an end. There's always people who feel things like that. I mean, disasters always come, and it's possible. You know, I think he's selling bunkers for $25,000 each for people to go down there and live. I don't know. I've kind of got differing opinions on it. Do I actually want to live in a damn bunker? Like when you think about nuclear power plants that we have strewn all over this world, living in a post-apocalyptic world, it's not going to be as fun as the movie The Road. You know, The Road, where they were like eating children to survive, eating each other because there was no food left. It's not going to be that fun, right? The whole planet's going to be irradiated. We don't control any of the technology. The 99%, we don't regulate nuclear energy, the nuclear plants, where they put them, if they're monitored, if they're safe, if they automatically shut down. We don't control any of the nuclear weapons. Now we have nuclear cruise missiles that Russia's making because we started an arms race. They're nuclear submarines that are sitting out in the ocean. A post-apocalyptic world is not going to be you sitting underground in a bunker relaxing and chilling. If anything, it'll be you underground, maybe alive, choking, vomiting, diarrhea, going through the worst conditions possible. And if you're lucky, maybe you'll make it, you'll get something to the next generation where they possibly can live on the surface some of the time. Like the thing I don't get about the whole doomsday prepper thing is, if we can fix the problem before it becomes a problem, doesn't it make sense to kind of fix it before it becomes a problem? I mean, I'm getting a little old. My brain doesn't always work the way it's supposed to. But if we know that we're walking towards World War III, global breakdown, shutdown, everybody can feel that this is sick and we're going in the wrong direction, doesn't it kind of make more sense, instead of putting your $25,000 into a bunker, but using some of that money to get people to stop fighting with each other and over little ignorant, silly things, and taking our government back? Like, wouldn't that money be utilized a little better to like help fix things? Like, I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing it out there, but I think preventing a problem is a better place than letting it happen and then trying to survive after it with vomit all over your shirt, diarrhea all down your pants. And it's a normal thing. I mean, can you imagine what dating's gonna be like after the apocalypse? Like, it's just a normal thing to go out on a date. Well, you can't go out, so you're gonna be inside in the bunker. Go meet down somewhere in the bottom of the bunker somewhere, and you smell like doo-doo. She smell like throw up, and y'all gonna kiss and make a baby? Tell me now. That ain't, that ain't gonna happen. I didn't seen that nastiness before. What movie I was about? No. Why would you do that? I don't know how people do that. You know, people get caught. People get caught having sex in bathroom. My mind doesn't work that way. No, it doesn't. If I walk in the bathroom and I smell some doo-doo, it's not gonna happen. Viagra ain't gonna do nothing for me. It's just, it's certain things you need to. I need to smell some roses and some flowers, some perfume, damn it. Something that deliciousness, some coconut lotion or something. Do something for my mind. But if we go back to the time where we just got vomit everywhere and doo-doo, and you got it just all kind of crust and hair, and nobody bathed because we ain't got no water, we got to drink it, and we all just in this must funk of just bacteria climbing everywhere, and you can lean over and say, it's the third date, are you gonna kiss me? Hell no, we ain't having nothing. So anyway, I don't get the whole bunker life. I'm not. I guess I don't. It just, I'm looking at the comments now, but I guess I don't understand. Man, I got a. I have a problem when I just smell something funny. I go sit there. You eating garlic? I love garlic, baby, but really, you know. All right, let me stop. All right. I don't think people think about it ahead of time. And why would you want that for your kids? You want your kids to do that? You know what kind of diseases you can get by having tongue kissing somebody that just vomited for the last 10 years of their life? You can get some bad diseases. You ever heard of an STD? Can you imagine the STDs that are getting cultivated? Hold on, I got somebody calling me. Can you imagine the STDs that are being cultivated by people who don't bathe? People that live in bunkers and can't bathe. You think syphilis is bad? You think gonorrhea bad, huh? That's what's doing it for the world. That's what we scared of. They're gonna have gonorrhea times 22. Gonna be fire shoot out your eyes, blood shoot out your butt. All right, I'm done. I got it. That's the wrong road to go down. I just kill me. I listen. If we live in a sustainable community, we growing food, rebuilding the world. Okay, I'm with it. But unfortunately, it's probably not going to go that way because we have nuclear power plants everywhere. It's going to be a nuclear fallout time. You will be living in a bunker. You will not be taking baths. I don't know where all that defecation urine. You know how much urine and defecation builds up over 10 years by just 5 people? You ever seen a septic tank overflow? You ever smell it? I had a tomato. I lived in a house once and the damn septic tank overflowed and a tomato started growing out of it. Listen, seeds are prepared for that. Tomatoes can do that. The planet's been here for a long time. They're supposed to grow in doo-doo. Human beings don't grow in doo-doo, yo. We're not supposed to be there. That's all right. All right. That's gone too far. Too far. Let me go back. I'll look at some comments and then that's shut down. Sister Holly says she canceled her cable 3 years ago. One of the best things I've ever done. Yes, Holly, I'm with you. After a couple weeks, you see your critical thinking skills slowly start to return. Crazy how you can almost be hypnotized. No, I don't think it's crazy, Holly. I don't. I am completely in agreement. When we stopped watching TV, I actually felt smarter. You honestly, as crazy as it sounds, but you really, really get smarter when you stop watching television. What I think, Holly, I'm okay with the conspiracy theory. I think that they're sending messages. I do. I think there's some sort of digital message that's messing with people. Like, remember the drive-in movie theaters? You go to the drive-in theater and it flashed the pictures of the popcorn every third or fourth reel, and it made people, maybe you're out watching Star Wars and you start feeling hungry, and then you go to the concession stand, order the popcorn. I'd almost stake my life on the fact that they're digitally flipping in messages to either make people scared, make the Democrats more extremely ignorantly Democrat, or make the Republicans more extremely ignorant Republican. I think that they do these things all the time. I think they flash images, and even if you had a history in slavery, you look at people in Africa and you think, oh, it's okay for them to be slaves because they're dirty, and I'm okay with this. I'm just gonna buy my new iPhone. Or if your ancestors from Ireland, oh, Ireland, they're dirty, the dirty Irish. You know, they were crazy and wild. They should have been indentured servants. They should have been slaves. I'm not worried about that. We got a nice life. I think that they flash messages to invoke fear and scarcity thoughts in people and the survival gene. Like, you think about it like this. If they send police to our schools to bust off shots in the hallways to invoke fear in children, to get children to be the way they want, hell yeah, they put subliminal messages in TV. I totally agree. Turn off the cable television and you'll get smarter, but you also got to make some smart friends. You got to find people like your Hollies and your Kathys and your Marys and your Lyns, people who will dump that information in front of you. I'm sorry if I didn't mention that. There's a whole bunch of Harvey and a whole bunch of y'all got all that detailing. Brother Chris and Jessica, y'all got all of that just knowledge and harsh, but you got to find people who already know kind of what's going on and they can start heading you in the right direction. So turn off the television, let the media see their stats just go to doo-doo. Like they're in a bunker. Let's just go to doo-doo. And start paying attention to people who've been watching this for a decade or more, and they can steer you in the right direction of like, this is what's going on in the world, and this is what you need to read and what you need to understand. Let me see. So I hardly can watch Netflix or movies anymore. Yeah, Diane, I hear you. That's my thing. I watch my Netflix. I date my Netflix. That's my girl. Netflix and we curl up at night. I have to, because that's my escape. I got my sci-fi shows and stuff. I can watch it, and Black Mirror is a good show. I need to just do reviews on Black Mirror episodes. Black Mirror was off the hook. But I like television. I think Hollywood releases information to us, but I don't think they play with the Netflix format as much. I think TVs and cable, they got on lockdown. And you can easily take a digital signal and just stick images in, like the CIA, the FBI, DHS. They can do that anytime they want and make the population highly scared. I think it's a little harder to do that on Netflix. And my only research, my scientific method, what I think on that is when I watch Netflix, I feel good. Like, it's just funny to me. I watch something and whatever, and the next day I'm ready to go. But when you watch cable TV, you just feel dumber and dumber and dumber. So, yeah, so I like Netflix. Uh, Constitution says naturally born citizen. Right. Well, they're citizens, but they don't have any rights. Right. So they're now, George, they're citizens, but they're not actually, they can't vote until they're 18. So they're not actually citizens. They're in that quasi. They're born here, so they will become citizens if they stay here. But if they don't, they won't. I think that's how that works. But either way, they're not full citizens. So why in the world, if they can't guide a society, they can't vote on laws, how in the world does it make sense for them to be subject to laws? They aren't, they're little diplomats. Womb diplomats is the way I put it. Let me see. Probably not good, I guess, for lots younger generations aren't excited to get their licenses. Yeah, which is weird. When we were kids, we were excited to get our licenses. I don't know why. The kids now are like, I can have a license or not. I think home is too fun now. Computers and internet. I think that's fun. As kids, we were different. We wanted to voyage. Like, we got on our bikes and we'd ride out there and we'd go places, Diane. Go meet the tribal kids in the next tribe, the few blocks down, down in the other little neighborhood. And so we were always trying to explore and get out. And kids today, they're like, I could get out, but I'm not interested. They'll go to Starbucks and have coffee with their friends at 17. I don't understand that. We don't have no damn coffee at 17. I think we might, were we, I don't know if I don't think I was chasing women, but girls. At that point, you wanted to go play with your friends. You wanted to explore and get out, go to the football game at the high school or something like that. But I think times have changed and the kids are more complacent to be indoors than what we've ever been. Let me see. We wanted to drive as soon as we could. Yep. Oh, we were driving at 15. I got I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm out of here. As soon as I got my learner's license, oh boy, I was gone. Yeah, but different times, very different times. Sister Kathy, Hillary needs to hang it up. Yeah, she does, but Kathy, they're not going to let it because there's still a lot of people who actually think she's a good person. There still are a lot of people who have just turned their backs on the millions of kids that she's put in prison, her and her husband, the millions of kids who lost their lives in turning America into a war zone with the war on drugs, shooting up poor neighborhoods, shooting up the trailer parks and shooting up the ghettos and putting all these poor bastards in prison, which is what they are to her. There are people who still will vote for her. There are people who, they can see the slaves at the Clinton mansion. They can see the slaves working in the yard, and they're still okay with that. And they'll vote for Hillary because they're scared. And I think it's because of what Holly said. They're watching TV, and they're getting these digital signals. And so they're going to keep putting Hillary on TV. They're going to keep putting Creepy Joe. They're going to keep putting Creepy Joe on television because this is a good idea to have Joe Biden as a president as he's kissing 7-year-olds and licking their face. I think that's nasty. There's a funny video out there. Y'all can see Creepy Joe kissing kids. I was like, And then you had who was it? Sessions or something. Joe was going in for the kiss, going to his granddaughter. I'm gonna get his granddaughter. And Sessions like ran and slammed, kind of pushed him out the way, grabbed his daughter and got her out of there. Sick. Let me see. Hillary's probably drunk again. Yeah, Augustine, she probably is. She's that or she got Ferragamo slippers that cost like $80,000. Her slippers cost more than the homes of the people she put in prison. And so they're slippery on the steps. They're walking down Temple steps. And so she almost slipped. But those slippers, I guarantee you, cost more than your car. And this is who we want for our president. Her brain transplant didn't work. Yeah, she's got medical problems, Mary. Something is going on there. Which is why we probably got to go back to having younger presidents before the pesticides screw with their heads because they're eating that crap too. I'm frozen, Kathy. Oh, okay. Well, I think you just got to reset a lot of times when that happens. You just got to restart your app. Earth doesn't have borders. Thank you, brother Nathaniel. Earth does not have borders. We got to get past all of these ideas that the 1% handed us. You got to get on the right team. If you weren't born with $1 billion in the bank, you're a poor bastard like the rest of us. And they will treat you like a poor bastard when it's time. You think that you're going to get a bunker key? You're not. That's why the 1% back in Otzi's day, let me go back to Otzi. The 1% back in Otzi's day, where's his stuff at? Where's brother Otzi? The 1% back in, they were 1% back here. Ooh, she's a fine woman. All right, there we go. Brother Otzi. The 1% back in, it was probably, well, it might have been 2% back then. You might have had a lot of kings and lords because you had a lot of tribes. But we don't have a lot of tribes today anymore. So we don't have a 2%. 2% became 1%. The 1% now is like a 0.01%. And as soon as the 0.01% can screw each other, it's going to be a 0.0001% because this is what greed does. This is why I don't think anyone's driving this ship. I don't see an Illuminati in control of the world. I see a bunch of greedy bastards raping, killing, destroying countries and screwing each other because it's kind of a fun thing. It's how they get their endorphin kicks because they're psychopaths. The more I have and the more I take from you, the better I feel and I feel like living. And I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying those people need straitjackets, right? Because if you're willing to rape and destroy a world so you can get those endorphin hits, you need to be on a sofa somewhere, somebody talking to you, giving you some love. People need to hug you and some medication or something. You need help. You don't need to be in control of massive corporations. Like they say, what, 90% of what everybody on the planet buys is sold by 10 corporations? Bad idea. That's that Jeff Bezos model, but it keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. We need to do the opposite of what government says. That's how you know what to do. Do the opposite. You know, if they say gun control, say hell no. If they say you should have all the guns you want, give your guns away. Give them back. Give them back. It means they didn't put explosive devices in them, or they got drones that are zoned in on every house that has a gun to blow it up. Whatever they say, do the opposite. Whatever they say is a good idea, go the opposite. They say go left, go right. They say go right, go left. They say jump up, duck. You're the 99%. You are not a billionaire. Process how this works. Got to be smart as brother Otzi. Yes, it's money, money, money. That's what it's all about. It's always been about. It's about money. It's all about power and asteroid dust. Why? Because power gives them the ability to collect more asteroid dust. And what we need to be focusing on is using the current asteroid dust not to live greedy and have Ferragamo Hillary Clinton slippers sliding down the temple steps. But we need to figure out how do we use these resources for tomorrow. You know, I keep promoting the Ubuntu communities by Michael Tellinger, you know, the Zeitgeist movement. These are the things that we need to be supporting. Taking the asteroid dust and making sure that there's no reason for the kids in the next generation to fight over dust. The phenomenal thing, people, is that we can do this in our generation. By the end of our generation and before it, in a very short period of time, we can start using the asteroid dust, the robotics, the hardware, the computer, the software, the gross domestic product of the human race to make sure that everybody has what they need. And there are no kings on top, right? Because that's the one debate about that. Well, I don't want to do that. Agenda 21. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about socialism, capitalism, communism. We're not talking were there any kings or lords at the top. We're talking about using automation to make sure everybody has what they need. And when everybody has what they need, you don't get in tribal fights with the other tribe. Why? Because the tribe has food. Why would the other tribe come after your tribe when they have everything they need? They're going to leave you alone. Communities won't fight. States won't fight. Nations won't fight. Republics won't fight. Everybody just gets along when they have what they need because no one is dumb enough to risk losing resources or life for something they already have, right? It's all about abundance. That's how we solve the problems with the human race. It's not about ignorance and fighting and grouping up with your race and your religion and trying to get something, get a little more. That's how we end the world. How you bring the world and evolve it and be an upgrade for the next generation and be a lot smarter than a damn caveman is make sure the next generation has it better. And we can do that. It's very easy to do. Like even the lion knows. The lion won't go attack a massive elephant unless he got his buddies with him, and he still probably won't do it because it's a cost risk analysis, right? Dude, corporate America, you done risk analysis, you know what that you determine the risk. You're in a bar fight, you see two big guys rolling, tumbling, fighting each other, and you're 5'2", 120 pounds wet. You don't jump in the middle of that fight. Risk analysis. I don't want the guys to fight and break up the bar, but this is my fight. Go get the phone, call 911. You know, go get some friends or something. But you don't jump in that fight. But this is it's a risk analysis. When people have what they need, then you don't have kids in the ghetto growing up fighting with police. You don't have kids in trailer parks growing up carrying a white nationalism flag. Like it happens because we're stupid, not because they're stupid. It happens because we're stupid, because we have our brains, not enough of us. Brains have evolved to a point where we want to make the next generation better. Too many of us are still, probably 90-some% of us are still trying to just rob the world for what they can get today. And I don't think that makes you better than the 1%. I don't. I think if you're robbing, you're just robbing for less. You're just not as good a job. You're not doing as good a job. You're a banker, you're a lawyer, you're a dentist, whatever your career is, you're just grabbing, collecting asteroid dust for you and for your kids, trying to screw everybody else or compete with everybody else. How's that any different than the 0.01% at the top of this world, the oligarchs and the bankers that are running everything? They're just collecting as much as they can for their kids and their generation, and it's a competition, and they're just better at screwing you than you are at screwing them. That's why nobody can be in control. Nobody can run anything. Human beings, we haven't evolved yet enough to have power over anybody. So we have to teach that to the kids. We have to go back, because I think we used to be a hell of a lot smarter. Otzi done laid out his asteroid dust, put it in a nice pile, put it on a rock. He didn't just die and leave his things for the next generation. He collected them together with blood dripping out of his body, dying, and put them on a rock so that the next human being that walked by would see all the things that can help them to survive and live. Otzi was smart enough to understand that we exist, we survive by each other, and that's what we have to do. Oh, y'all talk about the bunker. Yeah, oh yeah, nah, we're not going back to the bunker. That's nasty. Let me go down to the bottom of the comments. That was I'm not doing the bunker. I have access to, but I will not be going in the bunker. That's just, that was for a short period of time. I might be able to tolerate some bunker funk for about a few minutes. Maybe a day or two, three. You might get me for a week with a lot of Lysol. No, not Lysol. No, we might need I might have to back away from my holistic living because I don't do funk well. But the sick thing too is just funk gets in your nose and that's the nasty thing. The scent, it actually is small particles of what you're actually smelling. So when so when you're sitting on that date, when you're sitting with the guy and he's sitting there and he look all hot and sexy, delicious, got a 6-pack, because he ain't no food in about 2 weeks. And you start smelling chocolate. That's because that chocolate's going in your nose, girl. That's what that is. That's not just it's small particles of the fecal matter that's caked up around his booty cheeks. This man that you're gonna have a baby with. Yeah. All right. I'm not going back down that route. Let me go down and see some last couple comments, see if I missed anybody. They don't have jobs. They don't have jobs to drive to, so that's for sure. Too costly to drive. Driving was, oh, okay, you mean the kids? Yeah, and that is a good point. I didn't think about that, Kathy, Mary, and Jasmine. Is that, yeah, I mean, we had jobs back then. My first job was a paper route. I was a slave. I did a paper route. And my second job, but before that, we cut grass. We raked leaves. Before that, we go knock on the door. Mr. Johnson, can I rake your leaves? And he'd pay us $5 to rake his leaves at $10 or something. But the thing I also think about is, you did that to make money, but then we had parents that, Miss Nancy fell and hurt herself, and so you had to go shovel her driveway anyway, right? You didn't get paid for it. You went and did it because it snowed, and she's a neighbor, and we look out for each other. And these are some of the wise things that a lot of our parents and grandparents and elders passed down is we're a community. We can't fight the community. We are a community. And so, yeah, I mean, we had jobs. Oh, man, I had a job. I used to cook chicken. I know that's some racist stuff. I used to cook chicken, though. I did. I worked for Chick-fil-A a long time ago. Oh, man, I used to drive a long, long way. I could tell some stories. I'm not going to tell those stories this morning. I know it was multiple towns away. No, now I go back to my family's neighborhood and no one's outside. Yeah, I know. I go home, too. I don't see any kids. When we were kids, we were all outside playing. Dad got a new refrigerator or something. We turned it into a fort and we put the bow and arrow thing on top of it with the rubber band. And we used to make things and shoot our friends with it and play outside and did all kind of fun stuff as kids. Never were inside. If you were inside, you were being punished. We were always outside. And so, this generation is changing. See, there are legal ways to be a sovereign citizen of the United States and divorce the corporate USA. I'll PM you. Thank you, Joyce. Yes, and we're finding out about that. I'm gonna start sharing on that. I don't know enough about it yet, which is why I'm waiting on my expert to come and tell us about it. But I was talking with Sister Green about that, and Sister Jessica about that, and Chris about that. And yeah, you can send me what you have. But yeah, we do need to start walking in those directions. If being sovereign citizens are things to get noticed, that hey, we're sick of y'all, then that's what we have to do. We have to get out of it. So I need to know more about it. Some of the things kind of disturb me a little bit, so we need to make sure we know what we're doing before we go that direction as a mass anyway. Um, yeah, oh my God. Kathy said Hillary is a good person, the delusional souls. Well, Kathy, we were all, though, most of us were lost. I know I used to be lost. I was never into Hillary, but I used to be lost. We all are just products of our environment and our indoctrination. So I don't look down on people like that. I just try to give them the facts and just really try to wake them up. Like I have a lot of friends that are Black Lives Matter who voted for Hillary. And I just try to give them the facts and get them to understand that through the crime bill, she was the one to guarantee that no Black life mattered. Had nothing to do with Trump, had nothing to do with the Republicans, had nothing to do with the right. I was pissed off that the Republicans went along with it, and I was pissed off that most of the Black caucus went along with it. But the reality is the reason Black lives don't matter in the United States of America is because of Bill and Hillary Clinton. So there's no way in hell that I could ever support someone like that, you know? But people don't know that. And until you say it, they don't get it. They don't get that none of this is about race. They think, oh, we're gonna take care of Black people. That's not how this happens. When you get a job at those levels, you're no longer allowed to be a race or religion. They say the same thing. We got Pence in office. He loved Jesus. He hates Jesus. He would burn Jesus on the cross because he's Caesar. Like, people don't really process. When you look at how people are murdering their own communities, did you know there are more Christian churches in Palestine than there are in Saudi Arabia? But we're allies with Saudi Arabia. We're supposed to be a Christian nation, which is what they like to say, but we're invading Christian nations, killing more. So it's all a crux. The Black Caucus, they voted for the crime bill. They put all these Black kids in prison and destroyed their lives, destroyed entire communities, took fathers out of the community, took the kids away, put them in prison, destroyed them psychologically, spread HIV through the community. And these are people that you want to cheer, that's going to take you in the right direction. These are the people you want to take away your guns? No. These are people that you need to have a gun for. They're called sellouts. All right, let me keep going down. Last couple comments. Yes, Sister Diane, it is disgusting. Hillary is a major health problem. She has Parkinson's. She has Parkinson's and she is Parkinson's. She is a cancer on the world. There are a lot of people who are tumors and they need to be put into a place somewhere where they can't hurt anybody. And she is definitely one of them. My stepmom thinks Hillary is the best person, and everything that has been said is all right-wing conspiracy. Yeah, that's what most people think, Crystal, because that's what they do. The first thing they always say is the Republicans this, and the Republicans stopped us from that, and the Republicans stopped Obama, and the Republicans stopped Hillary. And the reality is they all work together, and they all do the same damn thing. They all screwed everybody else for the banks. Obama was the biggest bank president we probably had. He was the biggest Wall Street sellout ever going. But people can't say that because they're too scared to. A lot of people know it though, Crystal, I think. They're just scared to say it because they have these tribal pride things. Well, he was our first Black president. And no, he wasn't. He was like the seventh. But the history. What did Ty say? But you didn't do your history. You didn't check it. Ah, that was so funny last night. What? Ty said, but you didn't look it up, did you? You didn't look it. Huh? You didn't look it up. I can't make Ty's face. This is the funniest video. Y'all should watch the video from last night. She's a cyborg. She could be. I have no idea. She's sick though. I look at what people do. I give them a chance. And if you want to murder, kill, death, destroy people, colonize, restart slavery, I'm not going to say you're a good person. You're a horrible person. Let me see. Y'all passing information around. Good. Let me get down to the bottom comments. I know some people came at the last minute, which is crazy. Because I know, Brother Jimmy, I know you're here. I can actually see your comments on another screen because I'm doing some checks. I'm trying to see what's going on with the software on Facebook, but it's obvious that you're here. And I can see that you're commenting in a different place, but where I'm looking, I don't see any of your comments. So it might be an ISP thing. It could be a wireless carrier thing. But the question is, where are they censoring from, or where are their apps not working right? And that's something I'm trying to isolate, because I don't like thinking the deep state is always coming. Ain't the deep state just a stupid programmer? But it definitely is. It's censoring some of the comments. So I'm gonna go down to the bottom. Um, Let me see. I ended up in the banking industry for 20 years. Sister Kathy, yeah, I worked in those industries too. I was a sellout. I worked in the chemical industries. I worked in the pharmaceutical industry. I worked in IT. I worked in fast food. I've worked for all these corporations. I mean, and that gave me the perspectives that I have. I realized that these people aren't up to anything good. The first conversation everybody wanted to have is, how do we get rid of our employees? They never said that. They just say, we want to automate and maximize efficiencies. Can you guys help us? Which means they want to fire all the damn employees because they got too many of them. They got to compete with another corporation, which doesn't make them evil. It just, when Stephen Hawkins, Elon Musk passed on, that information to us, they did their Otzi thing where they left their asteroid dust, their knowledge on a rock, and they said automation is going to decimate you people, because AI can do all of your jobs, and AI will be doing all of your jobs, and the robots can do the hard labor portions of it. And that's what every corporation wants to do, and corporations run the planet. It's a very easy mathematical, it's not even an equation, it's addition. Corporations run the world. They don't want human beings working for them, equals death or slavery for everybody else. That is the direction of people still cheering Hillary Clinton, people still cheering Trump, people still cheering. Now, Trump is a little bit of a different beast. He is the president, so we gotta, if we're gonna change things, we gotta work with him or force him in the right directions. But we can't do that if it's just 50% of his people, right? Or 40% or 30. I don't know what his approval rating is anymore. We have to force our government to do the right things. You just can't ignorantly hate everything they do and they say, because then they're just going to do what Wall Street wants. But if people get together and they say, you know what, we don't want kids starving in the Appalachian Mountains. We don't want kids starving in Alabama. We don't want kids starving in Michigan and San Francisco. We're done with this. You can't have any more wars. And you force your administration, whoever it may be, into doing the right thing. You don't hate every word that comes out of your mouth, either because you're racist or you're partyist or tribalist, whatever silly problem you have to force the governments to do the right things, not just hate on everything they do. Jasmine has no interest in making money these days. We got to make it to live for the most part, but I don't really have interest in that. I gave up on worshiping that God a long time ago. And that's why the big contradiction, everybody worships something, and you got to figure out what you worship. Usually, if you're putting your efforts toward it every single day, all day long, that's what you worship. Most people work 40 hours a week, 60 hours a week, and they go to church 1 hour a week. So you're gonna put efforts in, and they'll read their Bible like for 5 minutes on Sunday morning before they run in and do whatever. So I just did the whole contradictions. This is what people worship. If they spend all their time watching television, it's not a church thing. It could be anything. Spend all their time watching television. They keep backing the politicians. They keep, spending all their time trying to collect money to buy asteroid dust. That's what they worship. That's their God. And it's dangerous to make money your God. Goats, chickens, peacocks, etc. gives you a reason to get out in nature. Yes, they do, Yvonne, and that's what we always did, because that's who we always were. And why do we have the goats, chickens, and peacocks? Because they kept us alive. It means we didn't have to go out and hunt, and it means that we can now just live in the safeties of our own communities. And that's why I say, when you have a government that actually gives a damn about poor people or starving people, whatever race, color, whatever they are, they'll give them chickens. They'll give them the means to take care of themselves. As long as you have a corrupt government, they won't give you a damn thing, because they want you fighting and divided, and they want you to come to them for everything. They'll give you an egg, but they won't give you a chicken, because they want you to worship them. And that's what most people do. Dang it. I still see Brother Jimmy's comments. I can't see him over here. You're getting censored big time, brother. I don't know if it's you or me, but it's something happening. Yeah, they are awful. Oh, yes. Let me go down to the bottom. I'm way over time. Oh, I do see a Jimmy comment at the bottom. See, I said something, now your comments appear. That's how that works. What if we chain the bunkers with our own key first? Maybe 6.5 trillion of them. Well, I hear you with the bunker thing, a last ditch effort, but like, why? We can fix the world now. We can fix the world tomorrow. It's not a long effort. It's a very easy thing to do. When the masses stand up and say we've had enough, it all stops. Yep, none of it is good, and they always and they always promoted the men. None of them are good, and they all work together. Every last one of them. All the politicians all work together. All of them. I'm gonna say it one more time. They are all friends. They all share brandy. They all golf together. They share the same women. Most of them probably share the same kids. They're sick. They're psychopaths. They're all on the same team. So don't come at me with Cory Booker. Don't come at me with Cruz. And don't come at me. They're all sick. And the ones of them that aren't sick, I think, stand out. The ones of them that aren't sick are the ones they push out of their club. They're the ones like the Ron Pauls and the Cynthia McKinneys and the Rand Pauls. And, there was a time when they pushed Tulsi aside. Now they're not so more. Pay attention to that. They pushed the Ninas aside. I don't think they're doing that much anymore. You have to read the signs. Don't read the faces. Don't read the identity. Read the signs. When you're not a psychopath, you're not in the club. They're going to treat you like you're not in the club. But they even did the Bernie. They pushed them aside. Not some more. Because you get your ticket, you get your card, you sell out, you do whatever you have to, you agree with them, you start to negotiate. And that's what I'm saying. It's not politics. There is no negotiating with human rights. There is none. Don't kill people. Don't murder people. You kill people or you murder people, you're a psychopath. That means you need to go in a psychopath bucket. You can't have any power over anybody. You can't make any decision for schools, any human being anywhere, and everybody else is a human being. Like, I was watching a good lecture, was talking about how psychopaths actually are they're the human predator. They are, that they actually predate on humans. Like, that is their thing, is to take the role of nature in reducing the human population. It was a crazy good lecture. That was a long time ago. I probably can't find it anymore, but it actually makes a lot of sense that we have a predator. Once we killed off most of nature, that whatever it is inside of us, and it's culling things back. What if epigenetics and Mother Nature works together? What if God and epigenetics do their things together, and they're actually modifying genes to make sure we have enough warriors to call back warrior gene activated people to call back the human race, to make sure no population gets too big. That's why I don't really worry about the Earth. The Earth knows what it's doing. The planet knows what it's doing, whether you think it's microbiology or fungi or aliens or whatever you think it is, God, it always works. It always balances out. There's always more than enough something killing human beings. And now it's not lions, tigers, and bears and crocodiles. It's psychopaths. And we keep putting them in government. We got to get past that. Yes, they're all friends, all bought, sold, compromised, all of them. Thank you, Mary. Ty's in the house. Ty, listen, you late again. You late, yes. Don't come on my wall. I'm gonna get Ty for a minute. Hold on, y'all. Don't you dare come on my wall and say, I'm going live in 20 minutes. And don't go live in 20 minutes. I didn't reschedule my whole damn day to actually be on time and catch one of your broadcasts, and then you just disappeared. The only thing I wouldn't notice, and I looked on Sister Buddha wall. I went to Buddha's wall, and it was the same post was there, but then y'all deleted it over there. And I was like, you ain't getting away. You ain't gonna delete the post. You gonna give us some knowledge in 20 minutes. I done got my notepad out. I'm ready to go. They're gonna show up late. Y'all need to watch Ty's broadcast from last night. It was phenomenal message. Once again, I appreciate how you put things together. Very logical, makes sense. Y'all do your homework, do your study. When you go talk to people, know the facts, because when you know the facts, they get very quiet. When they get very quiet, that means their ears are like on. Doesn't mean they're working. The ears may not be working, but it means they're on. And people can't learn from you and learn from your facts while their mouth is running and their ears are off. And the only way you get people to be quiet is if you know the facts and they don't. And if they're really interested in the truth, they get quiet and they listen. It may not sink in. It may sink in 10 years down the road, may sink in 10 days down the road. That's the only way you get to that point, is you have to present to them facts that are undisputable, because the facts speak for themselves, right? And if the person doesn't really give a damn about the truth, they just want to fight and be better than you and I just want to fight you down, beat you down in ego, they'll resort to a personal attack. And that's how you know who you should be talking with and who you should be distancing yourself from. Because people who aren't interested in the future of fixing all of this, they have absolutely nothing to do with us. So that's my message for today. Y'all can look up the Ice Maiden or Brother Otzi. Our goal as human beings is to be the upgrade. Our goal is to make sure the next generation is better than what we are, to make sure that they are more evolved psychologically, socially, resource abundance wise. We have to continue to evolve, and we stopped evolving because we stopped for a while to be on this ignorant collect asteroid nonsense. We got to get back to being human beings. We got to get back to making sure the next generation is going to be better off than what we were. And if we don't do that, we're all going to sit around and wait for the wait for the next solar flare to come. All right, so we got 24 hours, y'all, 48 hours. The lights go out in the next 24, 48 hours. Go ahead and go down to your bunker. I might go jump off a cliff or something because I ain't going no damn bunker. Because the solar flare is going to 24 more hours. See if we can make it. But then again, all we got to do is let y'all blow real hard. See if we can push the planet a little faster and put the UK back in. Blow and make the planet turn so the solar flare hits them first and doesn't hit us. Because y'all should be wishing for that too in the UK. Y'all should be sucking. I want y'all to suck some air, because if y'all suck the air, we can get the planet rotating. Because if the solar flare hits the UK, if it hits y'all in Europe, the world will be okay, y'all. Y'all only have some of our nuclear weapons. You don't have every damn thing. Everything's in America. And so if the solar flare hits America and the power goes out, it's going to be a power vacuum on this planet. And whatever's going to be left, you're going to wish you wasn't around. Anyway, this is Gerard. Listen, it was fun hanging out with y'all. I love y'all to death. Y'all have a good day. Watch out for the green lights. We're in the middle of a solar